All right, here we are back again. Another great week of football predictions from me and from him.
And from him and from me.
Yes, we're back again. More great insight into the weekend's action. And Mike, we start off with an early game on Saturday after the internationals, which nobody really cares about much anymore. With a home game for Wolves, struggling Wolves against Liverpool, your team.
We as being a pundit, we're always impartial. We've got Wolves at home, always a tough venue to go. The last few weeks, I've been holding back on tipping Liverpool, and I feel that I don't want to give them a jinx, so I'm going to keep going with not a Liverpool victory. So this is me actually sacrificing a little bit for the good of my team, or the team that I like. But I do think Wolves have played better than what their results have shown in a lot of their games, to be fair to Wolves. So I'm saying at home in the Molineux, driven on after the break, they could surprise Liverpool in the early game. I'm not going to go for a Wolves victory, but I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I genuinely believe Wolves will score.
Mm-hmm.
Liverpool could easily win 3-1. But I'm just going to say maybe, after the international break, that Liverpool are not firing on all cylinders. I'm going to go for a 1-1. And that's a gut feeling. Also, I don't want to predict a Liverpool victory and then they turn around and lose.
Yeah, that's the thing with the Premier League. Like, there's no game is set in stone. Anything can happen. That's the thing. And Wolves,
especially away from home.
Yeah, at the start I tipped Wolves to be one of the relegation teams. I think since they lost JL, I think Gary O'Neill has come in. They do try to go forward, but they do seem to lack a little bit up front, even though they've got that big striker back from injury they were missing last year. I think Liverpool were successful against Villa last week because Villa played a high line and Liverpool kept on putting the ball over them, and Salah and Nunez wreaked havoc on them. Wolves, I think, won't hold such a high line. But at the same time, I don't think it's in Wolves' DNA to kind of do the what you call it, the block, the low block, as they call it. I think Wolves will try to come out, and I think that will be to the advantage of Liverpool, whose attack is fearsome. I think it's probably one of the most fearsome attacks in the Premier League at the moment when they're all firing. Better than even Man City and Arsenal, I think, in their full pump. Van Dijk will be suspended, rightly so, after his outburst against the referee, I think. Trent Alexander withdrew from the England squad. He was very important for them as the quarterback against Villa. But very often we see players pulling out of squads and then they show up for the club team shortly after.
Exactly.
Yeah, so Salah looks like he's staying. That'll be a big bonus as well to Liverpool, that they resisted the money. So I'm going to go for Liverpool just to be too good, and they're in good form. 2-0 to Liverpool on this one.
2-0 Liverpool. Okay.
Maybe 2-1 because
fine.
Liverpool defense is weak, so maybe 2-1, but Liverpool to win.
Okay. So our second game is Aston Villa versus Crystal Palace. That's another team that you predicted to do very well against a team I predicted to struggle. So what's your reading on that there, LIM?
Yeah, Villa are blowing hot and cold at the moment. 1 minute they're scoring 4 and 5 goals. Next minute they're conceding 4 or 5 goals and look really ordinary. Like, Liverpool made them look very ordinary in last week. You wonder, like, they didn't look like any team that I would have predicted to be in the top 4. Villa, they didn't have anything to say about them. But I expect them to beat a kind of an average Palace team, especially if Villa are at home. They'll be smarting after losing the Liverpool game. Palace as well, they beat Wolves last week, so they can relax for another week. That's typical of Palace, I think. They'll be up and down all the time. Michael Olise is still out. Good for Palace is that they've got their strikers scoring, Edouard and Mateta. And Palace are unbeaten in their last 4 away, so they have a little bit of steel about them. But I just expect Villa to bounce back on this one. So I'm expecting Villa to win maybe 2-1.
Well, I'm not going to add too much more to your excellent analysis. I have Villa to win 2-0. Just as you say, Palace are doing what Palace have done for so many seasons. They'll win the games against teams around them. The very odd upset, but away from home against us, a team that's stronger, especially on the back of winning, I expect them to be lackadaisical at best on it.
Yeah.
And as you say, Villa are smarting. I think that at the end they got rid of some apples that they didn't like. You know, on loan I think Coutinho on loan now. And players like that who might be on big salaries, you know, and not doing the business, get them out.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll get a better bond with the players that are there. Villa certainly, we'll talk about Newcastle later, are better than what they've done so far. You know, in terms of points, they're not doing bad, but they're not doing as great as you would have thought.
Yeah.
2-0 is what I'm predicting.
Okay.
Okay. Fulham. I'm going to jump into the next one if I take it away. Fulham at home to Luton. I'm not going to say much about it. You'll have the stats. I know that. You know me. I'm not a stats man. Luton, I've been trying to talk up the recently promoted teams, giving them the benefit of the doubt. We've seen enough of these guys. Most of them are on their way back. Fulham are going to win this game. Not great. They won't hammer them, but 1-0. I just don't see Luton having the tools away from home to really hurt. As not a great team, but a well-organised team. And in Craven Cottage, with the fans behind them, Fulham will get the win. It might be more than 1-0, but the lack of Mitrovic, I'm putting it at 1-0.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I've gone for a Fulham 1-0 win as well. Luton, of all the teams that have come up, look the weakest at the moment. Just their squad just doesn't look to be the right standard. Their defense as well is very weak. Their captain looks like a fish out of water. They're that guy who was missing in the last game. They were unlucky in their last game against West Ham. You know, they scored a late goal and they could very easily have got a penalty from Ward-Prowse handball from the corner kick. So they could have got a point from that game. They will have to depend on their home form, I think, to give them some points like Forest last year, if they have any hope. But away to Fulham. Fulham have bought in Iwobi from Everton and Castagne from Leicester to beef up their squad. They'll be aggrieved as well by Ake's goal from Man City last week, which was clearly offside.
100%.
So that kind of like they were hammered at the end. That changed the game. Palhinha as well will be back. He missed the last game because the move to Bayern didn't go through, and apparently he's on ball with them. It was more a case that Fulham couldn't get in McTominay from Man United to replace him. So he probably will be back and will be very important. He's one of the form players in that position at the moment. So I expect a tight game, Fulham to win. Get it in, Mike. Get it
Fulham
in.
to win 1-0. They're over. I'll get it in. This is the big match, though. The big match on Saturday. You take it off first.
Yeah, Man United. Poor Man United. Do we have any sympathy for them? Are we feeling sympathy for them yet? No.
You know, they have a curse with wingers. I mean, between you have Greenwood, you have with his incidents, you have Anthony going on media to deny beating another woman. You've got Sancho, who's been training now on his own because he's petulant. Or Ronaldo obviously has gone to Saudi Arabia. And you know what? It's the gift that keeps giving.
Yeah. Apparently Ryan Giggs...
Sympathy, zero.
Apparently Ryan Giggs was in there last year giving a few tips to the young lads.
That could get us blocked. There'll be a super
On the
injunction
field,
on
of course, on the field,
kind
of
of
how to be a good winger, how to be a good winger. But
Oh yes, oh, yes,
yeah,
indeed, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, United are in trouble, and
So,
all
but
this.
how do you think?
I think Brighton will beat them. I think Brighton have nothing to fear going to Old Trafford at the moment. Man United are in a mess with injuries. They're tactically all over the place with Casemiro isolated in the middle of the park. Then all of this going on behind the scenes, the Glazers, the whole thing. There's total disruption there. There's no harmony in the squad. Brighton on the other side are very cohesive. They'll be hungry. They'll be seeing this as a chance to prove, what they can do this year. And I think Man United will be a good scalp for them. Ferguson, our Irish lad, scored a hat-trick. He's getting on the radar for lots of teams now at the moment. And Fati, the guy from Barcelona, will he make an appearance? Everyone is waiting to see him, Fati, in the Premier League, see if he'll play. So I think go on Brighton to win, 2-1 away win.
You know what? I mean, I would like to see that. I'm a fan of Brighton. I put them as a top 4 team in our predictions. But, and here's my but, when a team are back to the wall, you've got this international break, you've time to sort things out. It happened with Man United last year where they badly lost a few games. You get a break, you reset, there's a time to get, kind of just get some standards back in and get playing maybe a less expansive game, but one that, with the quality of the players in the squad will get you over the line a couple of times to get that winning feeling back. I believe we'll see a dour match from a United perspective. Tight, not too ambitious. But I think it'll be enough to get him a draw. Because Brighton would rather United come at him, which won't happen in Trafford, because of their poor form coming into it.
Yeah.
So I'm going for a 1-1 draw. I wouldn't be shocked if, United turned it around when they played Arsenal and Liverpool and won games by just basically on the counter, whether it was home or away, it didn't matter. Similarly, I think this season they're going to go back to that. Play as if they're the underdog, play as if they're the away team.
Okay.
And just depend on a bit of guile from Fernandes, a bit of speed from Rashford to nick a goal.
Yeah.
I'm going for 1-1 because Brighton are one of the best at creating chances in the Premier League. They actually, because of their transitions, the speed of their transitions and the way the guy has them up. And as you say, Ferguson was another one of those injured before, just coming into the internationals, got announced injured after he scored his hat-trick.
Yes.
It'll be cheeky if he's, I'm back fit again as soon as the internationals are over. Is a little
That's right.
cheeky. But there we go.
Another interesting one from an Irish point of view, Mike. Another interesting point from an Irish point of view. He needs to play one more international game for the Republic before he will be officially cannot change his nationality or his allegiance, and he has English heritage, so I'm sure they'll be giving him a call. But he did speak about it publicly and said that he was born in Ireland and his dad would kill him if he ever changed over. So, but it's an interesting one to watch. Declan Rice switched over, something similar. So we'll have to wait and see. Jack Grealish, yeah. Imagine
Jack Grealish is as English as they come, but he actually represented Ireland in underage football.
It could have been different. We could have been going to the World Cup with Jack Grealish, Declan Rice, and we have Ferguson. But anyway, it's not happening. So let's move on to the next game. Spurs at home to Sheffield United.
Yes.
And what do you think of that one, Mike?
Well, you won't like this. Yeah, I like the former Celtic manager. I like his approach of playing, the way they play football under him. He did great things at Celtic. What he seems to instill is a team ethic. They're working for each other, rather than it being about the individuals. he has a slight issue with Richarlison, but Richarlison is actually coming out and admitting it. He's saying, that he has family issues, or there's some issues that he's going to go to a psychologist. And fair play to him, because any sport at the highest level, or any level really, it's often a head game. And getting that space right is vital in any walk of life. And there's no saying, oh, well, you get 60,000, he's automatically, he should have that. No,
it doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't work that way. And so fair play. I'm hoping Richarlison will get better for his own sake, even though I don't like him as a player. In terms of Spurs, they're playing another weak team that have not impressed since they came up. They're in good form. Son is in great form, but the way they're playing, they're creating chances. I'm expecting a 3-1 Spurs victory to keep them on a very good start of the season run. Over to you.
I agree with you. Actually, I've down here as well. Spurs 3, Sheffield United 1 as well. I think Spurs are, like you said, they're on a crest of a wave at the moment. They had a problem with Richarlison in the centre, but now Son has come in, so I don't think Richarlison won't play even at the weekend. I think
won't start
Son as well too. Like, we all know what a great player he was. He was out of sorts last year. A Son on form. That's a player we like to watch and see. And Maddison as well behind.
100%
is the one that he's enjoying that little position behind as well on the ball. And they brought in Brennan Johnson as well too, which is another good player. I think though that Spurs' defense is still vulnerable, and I think, like Liverpool, Tottenham's best defense is on the attack. I think later on in the season they'll be found out a little bit, in the tougher games away from home. But now they're enjoying it, and it's good to watch them.
100%.
Sheffield United, they drew with Everton. They're very good. What's that? I don't mind. I guess we'll have a bit of sympathy for it. And they're playing well. Actually, they're good to watch. It's nice to watch Spurs at the moment,
It's entertaining football, isn't it?
Yeah, like watching the football, irrespective of
and they're playing for each other. They're playing for each other. We like to see a team gelling and playing together.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't write off Sheffield United as well, though.
Rather than just one individual.
Yeah, compared to Luton, Sheffield United have a little bit of fight about them. And they have a little bit of potency up front as well, too. They brought in that guy Archer, who was like in the England under-21 when they won the European Championship during the summer. And he scored 2 goals, even though one came off the post and hit Pickford. But he's very bright up front. And in McBurney, they have a tall guy who's going to throw himself around. He'll cause problems for defenses. So Sheffield United, I think that I put them down to go down, to be relegated. But at the moment, I would put Luton below them. But I just think Spurs at home, on the high that they are, 3-1 victory for Spurs. Another good day for them.
Jump on straight on. West Ham at home against a team you hate to pick to win. Manchester City.
Yeah.
Will you be predicting an away victory here, Liam?
No, I think that this is West Ham. I think West Ham are going to take points off Man City in this one. I think probably if you put together all... If you put together all my predictions from the previous 6 weeks and added them up, I would have Man City in the bottom 3 from results. But West Ham. Listen,
I don't think
you laughed at me the last time when I said West Ham could be like Leicester and come from relegation travel to win the league the following season. Well, West Ham are looking good. Good keeper. They've got Zuma. Yeah, Zuma strong in defense. They've got Paqueta and Kudos, a new guy from Ajax in midfield. Up front, you got the Antonio and Bowen, and the wings, Ward-Prowse. So I see West Ham having a good season. Of course, winning the league is a fantasy, but I think they'll do well.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yeah, I think at home, they might.
I don't think.
Yeah. I think they will give Man City a good game. Man City, of course, we know who Man City are. We know how good they are. And you have to be at your best to get a point against them. But I'm going to go for the Hammers to get a 2-2 draw on this one. City to lose points.
Yeah. For the sake of the league, we hope that happens. I heard all that, and I agree with everything in terms of the form and the way West Ham are playing and the players they brought in. I don't think it's going to be an easy game for Man City, but there's a steel to them that looking at Rodri is developing already. I'm looking at what a player Rodri is in midfield. He's having some season.
Yeah, forget about De Bruyne. Forget about De Bruyne. Rodri is the most important player in that team.
Oh yeah, like that man is doing it all. He's defensively cleaning up, scoring crucial goals that Gundogan did last year. He's mighty. I'm going for a 1-0 victory to Man City. Okay. It won't be that pretty because Sam gets the Man City machine will roll on. Okay. Newcastle in dire need of a victory at home to Brentford.
Yeah.
I'll take it away because again, we talk about international breaks coming at good times or bad times. Newcastle had tough matches. They did have a lot of tough matches against top teams, and unfortunately we're on the wrong side of those matches. This is a reset time to reset, calm heads down, and have the week to just gather what they're good at. And I believe we'll see a victory here this weekend against Brentford. Brentford, who's still playing well. You know, they have a good team ethic. We talk about organised teams. But Newcastle are better than what their recent results will show. And I'm thinking in St. James's Park, we'll see a more driven, more focused Newcastle. 2-0 victory. That's my nap. That's my banker.
Oh, banker. Okay.
Newcastle will win. They'll win 2-0. It could be 3, but I think that I rarely see Newcastle hammer a team. I think 2-0 would be a very good victory, managing all of Brentford's attacking.
Yes. And we have to remember as well, too, Newcastle will be gracing the European stage next Tuesday. They'll be going off to the San Siro for an away game against Milan. So that could be playing a little bit on their minds, or could have been since the start of the season a little bit. But you're right, they were playing against top teams like Brighton, Liverpool, and Man City. So at home, I do expect them to kind of start refresh. They'll want to win going into the San Siro. That'll be vital for them.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I'm going to go for a 3-1 win. I expect that guy, I always forget his name, the guy from Everton on the wing, Gordon, right? Anthony Gordon.
Yeah.
I expect Barnes to come in instead of him, because I fancy Barnes. I think he's a better player. Maybe Wilson might start as well. Brentford, don't write them off. Brentford, they scored a stoppage time equaliser against Bournemouth last week. They only have 1 defeat in the last 11 games. They're looking for 3 away wins in a row, so they're not lightweights away from home. They're resilient. But I just think, for the reasons you said as well, Newcastle have to win. I think they will win 3-1.
Okay. Let's jump it quickly on. We've 3 more games to look at. So let's just go Bournemouth at home to Chelsea. What's your thinking on that?
Yeah, Chelsea lost to Forest last week. They looked disjointed, you know. They've got really good players. They haven't gelled yet, as Pochettino said in the press conference. They don't have a striker like Jackson. He played very well in pre-season, the guy from Villarreal. He missed a sitter against Forest and the last time. That won't help his confidence. So they really only have Sterling, who can score a goal. Mudryk has lost confidence completely. So a lot of problems for Pochettino against a Bournemouth side who, they could cause an upset. There's a little bit about them, but I just think maybe a draw for this one. I think that maybe neither team really has enough about them to kind of get the win. especially if Chelsea are going away to Bournemouth. Chelsea's defence might be good enough to see them through. Chelsea had 21 shots, only 2 on target in the last game. That shows enough about their attacking strength. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Bournemouth winless in 8. So maybe a draw might be good for them.
I'm not 100 miles from you in your analysis. You got to look at the quality of those players, though, the two squads, and you say, like, it shouldn't even be a debate. And that's an indictment to the just the ridiculously over-the-top spending and splurging of money that we've seen from Chelsea under these American Ted Boehly or whatever. Because in any other given thing, you've got a stallion against a greyhound on a 3-mile run, and you know it's stupid to even compare the two. I'm thinking Chelsea with their quality, they'll find some way to squeeze a victory, but it's not going to be pretty. I've down Chelsea a 1-0 victory. I think that the quality will sneak a goal somewhere, but it doesn't solve their issues that they have, which you've just mentioned, which you've gone through in more detail. So I don't need to say all that.
Okay.
Okay, I'll lead off against your favourite team, Everton. And they're at home in Goodison Park against some noisy guys from London called Arsenal. You know, Arsenal have been shaky so far. I haven't been that impressed with Arsenal overall this season in the way they've played. However, if there's a team that has played even worse with less ambition, with showing no guile to or no creativity to score a goal, it has to be Everton. So straight away, you have to put a 0 after their name. And the question is, will Arsenal conjure a goal from somewhere against a team that could play for 6 hours and won't score a goal? And the answer is yes, in my opinion. They will get it together. So I'm going for Everton 0, Arsenal 2. Okay. Again, the breaks come at the right time. Got to sort out the Havertz issue.
Yeah.
Or drop him and just get him back behind the scenes in training until, you know, at the moment, it's not helping his confidence. It's not helping the morale of the team to see him playing and seeing other guys like Smith Rowe not getting a chance when he's not doing the business. Okay, but you, with your inside knowledge, would know much more about the Arsenal situation. I'm going 2-0. Over to you.
Yeah, I agree with you. Arsenal have been poor. They've been tinkering with a new system, you know, in their defense, and their defense is not settled at all. And the Havertz problem as well, too, is causing them problems up front. They're becoming too predictable on the right wing between Saka and Odegaard. That's becoming too predictable. I would like to see maybe Saka coming in more to the middle sometimes. But Vieira, I think I would like to see Smith Rowe start instead of Havertz, but I think Vieira, when he came on, has played well. So I think he probably will get the nod if Havertz is dropped. Compared to Man City, you know, Man City are just so professional. They get the job done. Arsenal are labouring. They were so, I mean, we could just easily have been talking about a Man United 2-1 win as against an Arsenal 3-2 win. 3-1 win. It was that close, you know, only centimeters in it. So I expect Everton to kind of sit back and frustrate Arsenal. I was going to go for the draw, but then I saw that Everton's is it the left back is Ashley Young. So I'd expect Saka maybe to have some joy against him. So just because Young, if he's there, I'm going to go for an Arsenal to sneak a 2-1 win again. But they really need to start beating teams. If you're going to be a champion, you have to have a period where you just kind of go through games easily. Arsenal are struggling in every game, and they're going to drop too many points unless they clean it up.
100%. So, Conway, hit you with the last one, the Monday night game, Forest at home to Burnley.
Yeah, I've gone for a dour 1-1 draw on this one. Forest will be like surprised. They got 3 points against Chelsea. Burnley badly need a result. And I'm going to go for a draw on this one just because Burnley have to get something. They've lost the few games. They need to get something to hold on to. Forest look good. Elanga, Awani, they have scored in their last 11 Premier League games. I just feel Burnley needing the win or needing a point might snatch one here at the City Ground.
Well, they need a point. Forest stayed up because of their home form. But to be fair, Forest brought in so many new players, and maybe, to be fair, the manager is getting more out of the guys who've stayed. A lot of the players that they brought in are gone, the Lingards and the Hendersons. But look, their victory away to Chelsea is testament that this season could be different for them. We'll see. This is a good test. This is a game. Last season, you'd be saying Forest need to win. They have to win their home games against teams that are going to be competing with them for relegation. Now, they've already won away from home against a team you wouldn't put for relegation. If they can back it up, you'd say, oh, Forest might be okay. You know, Forest might be going for a mid-table position at the end of the season. You know, they're a team to be respected a bit more, even away from home. With that in mind, as I say, I've been going for backing Burnley to get results since day one, and they've disappointed me every time. So I'm going for a Forest victory, 2-1 here.
Okay.
That's the vote from the Chinese jury.
Very good. Thank you very much. Very happy. Okay. So, folks, we'll leave you there. You can digest what we've said. Hope it helps you to enjoy the games, get a little bit of perspective on it. We'll leave it there, and we'll see you all again next week. So it's a goodbye from him.
It is a goodbye from me.
All right. All the best.